Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to another episode here on the YouTube channel. In today's video, we discuss Game Week 22, see what my planned moves are for the following game week, and also discuss Game Week 21 and how did my -8 end up going. As you can see on screen, the points are there, and it wasn't a particularly great week, but we're going to recap it all. As always, give it a like, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. This video was requested on a couple of the FM videos, so if you want to check out the Football Manager content, definitely click on the playlists down below under my Damo_23 YouTube channel, and you can stay up to date with obviously Wrexham and the Damo Does England challenge. On top of that as well, we really need to take a snapshot of this season too. Halfway point, let's see what's going on. And lastly, Jurgen's leaving. I'm very sad. I'm going to be sad all the way for the rest of the season. So if people could not remind me that Jurgen's leaving and I can live in this happy little bubble that everything's A-okay with my football club, that would be great too. All right, let's discuss what has gone on, obviously, in Game Week 21. If we bring up the Excel spreadsheet, the EPL tracker here, you guys can see that it wasn't a great week. Back-to-back weeks, we've lost team value, but that's mainly because we sold Salah and Son this game week. But on top of that as well, a big red arrow and kind of the what's been going on. As you can see here, 12k, then a few red arrows, and then back into the top 50k, a few red arrows, then out to 77k, back to 31k, take a -8, nothing paid off, and 67k in the world. We have to take a snapshot of this season though. If you told me that I was going to be in Game Week 21 and be 67k in the world after in Game Week 1, I would have snapped your hand off and said yes. Because historically, I've been a lot better in the second half of the season where we get triple captains and all the blanks and the doubles, etc. and really showing you nous on how to navigate. I've never been in this sort of spot, being this high up going into it, which is great. But I really do have to also look at it and been like, there's been opportunities to maybe made different moves and, turn that 31k into the top 15k and then all of a sudden make an assault at the top 10k. I think this season my goal has been to finish inside the top 50k, and as long as we make some good decisions in the remaining game weeks, I should be able to do this. If anyone wants to pause and have a look at the season and how it's gone and all my write-ups there, I know some people love the Excel spreadsheet, so there we are. So what were my moves this week? Well, Levi Colwell was in the team, if you remember, obviously, and we took him out after numerous one-pointers, as you can see, and he got a 7-pointer, but I'm very happy to have a Stupian long-term, and the Stupian got an 8. So we made 1+1 there on the -8. We obviously took Salah out for Garnacho. This was more to free up funds for Haaland. Salah, and to be fair, going through before Salah got injured, I think I made a mistake here. To get Salah back in to have Haaland, etc., is so hard. So I think in hindsight, it's actually better to have Salah on your bench and just hold him, and Son someone that maybe you can sell and get back to, maybe selling Saka. But obviously with Salah's injury, the hamstring injury, I'm convinced that even if he gets fit to play in the Africa Cup final, he won't be 100%, and then he will come back and still miss 2 to 3 game weeks Liverpool, and more than likely, well, it's confirmed Liverpool are going to blank in Game Week 26. He probably is not available for the Game Week 25 double, and then Game Week 29, where we blank again if we make it through to the next round of the FA Cup, he might not even be 100% by then. It's kind of like Haaland, it's one of those ones that could take a little bit. So it might be the case that I don't get Salah back now to my wild card. So even though we lost out on points and lost out on some value there, maybe holding him on our bench, which I think was the better play, I'm actually quite happy that I've got the money in the bank now. I've got Garnacho in the team, and hopefully he picks up a few points here or there. On top of that as well, we obviously brought Bowen in, and we did this early for Son to get price rises. Obviously, Bowen then goes and gets injured in the FA Cup, but Bowen's only missed 3 Premier League games and plays semi-injured. Didn't get a return, but nice to see him play. A lot of people who bought him in resold him, so to keep him and then have him play 90 minutes is a positive. But as you can see here, it means on that -8, we lost a ton of points where we could have probably held Salah and Son, and yes, Archer and Trippier would have got 1 point each, but I wouldn't have taken a -8. Which is a little bit frustrating. Obviously, outside of that, Watkins blanks yet again. Solanke didn't do anything. At least Porro and Saliba did okay, and we got the captaincy of Palmer right. I was tempted to go Saka. Imagine if I did. If I did, we would have been out to the top 100k. So take the positive that we captained the right guy. The team looks good moving forward. But, there was probably some different decisions that we could have made. And the Salah injury probably makes my decision to sell him better, because if he didn't get injured, I think I really made a mistake in selling him and not holding him for the next few game weeks. Now, if we have a look at the team moving forward, it's not in a bad spot. And that's the thing, is that the reason I took the -8 is I know that I'm potentially probably going to roll, and I will roll this game week unless Pep come out and says Haaland is 100% starting, then I'm selling Watkins to Haaland and captaining Haaland. I'm also not set with Foden being on the captaincy. I don't know who else I'm really going to go for. I'm tempted to go Bowen against Bournemouth, and hopefully Bowen returns and goes massive. I'm also tempted to go Pedro Porro against Brentford, who've been conceding goals. I know they might not score, I know they might not keep a clean sheet, but Porro probably could get an attacking return, which could be massive. So captaincy at the moment on Foden, but potential to go Bowen depending on press conferences is what I'm saying. Now, if we look at the team, it's in a great spot. You got Areola and Dubravka, both are playing. I know that we're worried about Newcastle and everyone's saying, Damien, why are you still holding Trippier? Look at the fixtures post Aston Villa. You then get Luton, Forest, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Wolves. Chelsea isn't the worst. And then when you come around wildcard time, we've already got Palace, West Ham, Everton, Fulham. So you probably got to hold him through like the blanks and the doubles and everything. And then maybe look to get him out towards the end of the game week 37, 38, maybe get him out for a different player. But, I think Trippier, the plan was for me to hold him. So my back four could always look Porro, Stupian, Tripper, and Trent moving into the wild card, and I will discuss how I'm going to get Trent in at the end of the episode, and it's not this game week, obviously. But if you look at that back three, I'm happy with it. Saliba against Forest. Obviously, I wish we had Gabriel because it would have been a green arrow, but it is what it is. Stupian against Luton, obviously an attacking monster, and it's great to have him back in FPL. Pedro Porro, two playing goalkeepers, a pretty good defender on the bench when they have good fixtures in Trippier, and some good cover in Taylor, who could become anyone if we really wanted to. If we look at the midfield five, I'm happy with most of these guys, but not all of them. So I'll tell you who I'm very happy with. Palmer and Foden. I think Foden starts even if De Bruyne starts this week, which I don't think he does, because I think the Foden's been in outrageous form and Pep won't drop him. I think De Bruyne won't start for what it's worth. I think we're going to get another couple game weeks without De Bruyne starting. He'll get eased back into it, which means the potential double will have Foden in, and I will have Foden for that. And hopefully Haaland will be back, because that's when I'm planning to triple captain. Palmer, obviously ecstatic with Liverpool. Obviously this game week's a bit tough, but whatever. And I'm happy to have Bowen. I think Bowen was the best asset until he got injured. That fact that he played is massive. And I'm going to just do this right now, is I think he makes a better captain this game week. On top of that, though, Garnacho is one that I'm also pretty okay with. He's got Wolves and West Ham, Aston Villa, Luton, Fulham. There's some really good fixtures there. Very good differential at only 5.5. He's been so involved in a lot of what they're doing, Man United. So if they're ever going to score, it's generally through him. And you also got Everton and Sheffield into game week 29, which by then we're looking at wild cards, etc. It's the main reason I brought him in. Is he's someone I can put in the team, set and forget, cheap to enable other moves, and I'm very happy with Garnacho as well, and hopefully he returns. But I'm upset a bit about these two. Now, Watkins, I think, is not essential, and I think I'm going to sell him. He does get Sheffield next week, which makes him a hard sell, and then he goes Fulham, Forest, and Luton, which means that if you kind of rode this little period, you probably want to hold on to him. But out of the Watkins and Solanke, for the output you're getting, I would rather have Solanke. Solanke gets Forest and Fulham very similar. Newcastle and City is a little bit more difficult, but then he goes Burnley, Sheffield, Wolves, Everton, Crystal Palace, Luton. So yet again, someone we can hold long term, someone we can hold along the wild card. And, to get Haaland back in, it's probably easier to sell Watkins to Haaland and ride Solanke. He's a penalty taker, going to play 90, where Watkins doesn't take penalties. And as you've seen previously, in this game, in the last few game weeks, not really returning with a 1-2, 9-2, 2, 8-1 and an 11 in 14. There's a lot of just misses and near returns. It's going to be big to sell someone at 55% ownership, but I do think if I'm going to sell to get Haaland, it's Watkins at the moment. Now, this is what my team looks like on obviously Fantasy Football Hub. If we look at AI transfers as it builds this, I'm rolling for sure this game week because my team looks good on paper. There's no real injury concerns. I'm pretty happy with everything. The game would tell me to start Trippier away at Aston Villa, which I won't do. They want me to get Walker in because we do have the double game week, which is something I'm tempted to do as well, and something that I might do. But bank the alternative free transfer is definitely something that I think we are going to do. Now we move to game week 23, and we move that forward here. We then have 2 transfers here, and we've got obviously a pretty good team. You know, if I was to just optimize the team, and hopefully it doesn't give us the, capture, beautiful. The team on paper here is pretty good. You know, you got a good game week rating. We've got 13 mil in the bank. I don't know if Haaland's going to be back for this game week or not. It could be close. But let's just say Haaland is. You know, it's hard to sell Sheffield away and Nottingham Forest away. But if I sell Archer, it blocks all my other game moves. So I don't know who we take out of there. I think it's going to be Watkins, etc. And say, for instance, it is Watkins and we're going to bring in Haaland. No. Transfer out, yeah, and bring Haaland in. That gives us 7.8 mil in the bank. And with 7.8 mil in the bank, as much as I like Saliba, I think Saliba here has to become Trent before they double. Because you go, maybe not this game week actually, become Walker for Brentford, right? And Walker's someone that we could play over a Saka or whatever. And then by the next game week here, if I was to, potentially make these transfers, would then be the week that I bring in Trent, more than likely for one of, maybe even Taylor, and then probably sell Saka. But, I think that's all perfect world. So if I go back to pick my team, the way I'm going to get him in Trent, is I think the double and the potential of having Trent is bigger than having Walker. So as much as I would like to have the double in 24 and cover it with Kyle Walker, I think it's better to have, obviously, Trent come in and then see what we can do. I don't know what the game's done there. It is just glitched out, which is interesting. And then, yeah. Awesome. So, thinking 22 we're rolling. In 23, I'm going to have 2 transfers. It all depends on Haaland. I think Haaland's going to come back in. It sucks to sell Watkins, but I think Watkins is the one that makes the most sense. And then it's all about, well, do we want Trent? Do we want Walker? Who do we want here? All the Man City ones are going to be up there because they reckon Brentford and Chelsea, they're going to get 8.8 points per their game week. I don't think they keep a clean sheet in both. And I think I'd rather go Trent, who goes Burnley, Brentford, and then a double as well, which includes Luton. But we'll wait and we'll see, which means that would I pick up another Manchester City asset here with my next transfer? I'm telling you right now, if he's fit, Kevin De Bruyne for Saka is definitely an option. Because you then get Brentford goal scoring, Everton goal scoring, Chelsea and Brentford, great. And I still got 6.2 mil in the bank. I still got Trippier on the bench here. I want to swap. I don't like when they do this now. Restore player, if we could, please. De Bruyne comes in, and all of a sudden you've got Dubravka, Porro, Estupiñán, Saliba's not playing. It's going to be, obviously, Trippier here, which is a great back three. Bowen, De Bruyne, Foden, Palmer, Garnacho, Haaland, Solanke. You've got triple attack for the upcoming couple of fixtures. Haaland's going to be back and nailed him. City need to win games and need to win the title. By this stage, De Bruyne is probably starting and starts in the double. And Foden, obviously, I think plays alongside. And you've got that triple coverage. You also got Solanke getting Forest, Fulham, and then Newcastle, which, is whatever. And then the next game week, in game week 24, is where you start going Saliba out and you're going to get Trent in before they blank. Which I know people are going to say, well, they blank. Yeah, I get that. But, oh my God, transfer out and make Trent come in. Yep. But this has not been a confirmed double, but it will be confirmed that game week 25 is a double for Liverpool, which includes Luton, which was what they would have in 26. So, yet again, I've got 1, 2, 3 double game week players, another double game week player, and then once it rolls around, obviously, that, the blank comes for Liverpool, and Palmer blanks too. So does Pedro Porro. You've got 3 guys that are blanking, but I've got a couple guys that can play, and I can sell one, if I really want to. But I think that puts me in a not bad spot. And, to take all the doubles into consideration, really attack the doubles, have one game week where I have 10 players, so be it. In that game week where 10 players are playing, by the way, just have a look at, the fixtures that we do have. You know, you've got Archer playing Wolves and Taylor playing Palace. The way Palace have been at the moment, is potential for a clean sheet for Burnley, and the way that Wolves have been defending is probably a potential for Archer to maybe get a return. Yes, we have three guys that are going to be, blanking, but we're going to have enough cover that, we'll have a starting 11 and we can potentially roll in this game week and then we'll be okay. So I don't particularly mind too much. I think we're in an okay spot. You can play 3-4-3, do that. I'm pretty happy. We're going to be okay. And as long as, Taylor plays 90, doesn't get a yellow card and gets 2, and same with Archer, the rest of the team probably backs me out. Bournemouth against Haaland. Haaland against Bournemouth, De Bruyne against Bournemouth, Foden against Bournemouth. Maybe by this game week here, we're starting to look at getting Son back as well. Probably not in this exact game week, but the week after, so Foden can leave. And maybe looking, not Salah yet, I think he'll still be injured. So, all of a sudden, I think the team is not too bad. So, in recapping, in game week 22, not getting Haaland back. Don't know what says it's Haaland. That's not yet. Game week 23, obviously Haaland and De Bruyne probably could come in here for Saka and for Watkins. In game week 24, approaching the double, we're probably looking to roll or bring Trent in, actually, with my 1 free transfer in perfect world, actually. And then in game week 25, obviously for the doubles there, we're pretty good, and we obviously got good fixtures out there. And then in 26, roll the free transfer that we do have, and there we are. And we have 3 players on the bench, have 2 really aggressive game weeks at 2 very big double game weeks where we can attack City and we can attack Liverpool's double, and then maybe look to move off and, obviously here, look to keep the bench with the 3 guys that are blanking, because the week after, in 27, you've got Palmer playing Brentford, Trent playing Forest, Porro playing Crystal Palace. The week after, all of a sudden, that team does look really, really, really strong. And I'm pretty happy with that. So, with that being said, I'm very happy with the team. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. I'm pretty confident we're rolling. I'm pretty confident next game week it's a double transfer for Saka, for De Bruyne, and Haaland in for Watkins. And then I think the week after there's going to be Trent coming in as well to tack the Liverpool double. Potentially captaining Trent, probably captaining Haaland, maybe triple captaining him there. And then after that, it's all about how do we get Son and Salah back in, depending on when they're fit and depending on, obviously, when they return, because I think Son wins the Asian Cup or goes into the final to play Japan, so he's not going to be back to probably 26, maybe 27, and I think Salah's going to be injured probably to 28, and he blanks in 29, so you're probably not getting him back to 30 plus. So with that being said, that is the episode. Thank you for sticking it out for 17 and a bit minutes. My recommendation to you, if your team looks good, is to always roll, but if you need to make a transfer, obviously wait for some team news. If you don't have a midfielder that contains Palmer, or you don't have a midfielder that contains Bowen, it's probably your priority. And if you do not have a Stupian at the back, he's probably your priority at the back as well. So give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. See you guys next time. Thank you and goodbye.